bottom of Maslow hierarchy of needs taken care of.
Right.
I've got a house, I don't have debt. It's easy for me. I've got multiple sources of income that I can take that. I'm not saying that for everybody, but I can also understand why a 25-year-old can do that too, because they've got nothing to lose.
Hello everyone, this is BTC Insight and welcome to yet another deep dive into BTC Insight. Before we jump in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. You won't want to miss this.
Raoul begins with a stark observation. What worked for past generations no longer works today. For decades, the formula was simple. Get a job, save diligently, buy a house, invest in the stock market, and watch your wealth compound slowly over time. But this model is broken. Real estate is increasingly out of reach for young people. Wages have stagnated compared to asset prices, and traditional investments like bonds or dividend-paying stocks no longer deliver meaningful returns. For younger generations, sticking with the old model means being left behind. As Raoul puts it, they need assets that go up 50% a year, 100% a year, which sounds ridiculous, but luckily, a few such opportunities exist.
For my generation, that was how the world worked, and it was great, and it worked, and now it doesn't work. So they need assets that go up 50% a year, 100% a year, which is ridiculous, but luckily we've been gifted a few. And so that's helped.
Go on, say it.
Well, it's crypto. Simplistically, it just outperforms all other assets, even with the excess volatility. So Bitcoin, for example, produces since 2012, it's produced about 145% a year returns. So that's 10x the stock market. And that's including 3 70% drawdowns in the middle of it.
A drawdown being a drop.
Yeah. Well, you feel like you're an idiot, you're losing money, it's all going to go, you've made the biggest mistake in your life, and it recovers and it keeps going because it's a technological network adoption model that's happening. So it's just sucking in more and more people. So there's now 650 million crypto brokerage accounts in the world, which is more than all the stock market brokerage accounts added together in the world. And we're seeing it all around the world because everybody can buy a share of something. So as opposed to being able to nobody can buy a Fifth Avenue apartment here, everybody can buy a fractionalized share of Bitcoin, which is, in theory, a $100,000 asset. But we can all put in $10, $5, $1,000, $10 billion. All money is social consensus. Everything. Gold has no real value. Average drawdown in the S&P during a bear market is 25%.
A drawdown being a drop.
Crash. A drop in prices. You're getting compensated 15% a year returns for that, at best. In Bitcoin, the average drawdown over the same period will be about 70%, but you're getting 150% return.
If you're on the winning side, though. If I buy it, and I can sell it for a higher price.
Just hold it.
That's the key.
So all of these are in a nice trend channel. They go up. So anybody can buy something and hold it long enough, it'll go up. Housing's different because you can endlessly create more housing. And we have a demographic problem in housing that makes it more complicated. Demographic problem is, A, everyone's leaving the cities now. B, the generational gap. Nobody can afford the boomer houses. We don't have enough cheap housing for young people. People are relocating, moving around. So we've got a very interesting mismatch in real estate now that makes it more complicated than it used to be. Imagine how difficult to replicate what you've achieved in your amazing career is for the average person listening to this versus buying one thing in your Coinbase account, your Robinhood account, and doing nothing. There's no cost. It's not like buying a house. It's not like servicing all the stuff. There's no debt involved. There's nothing. And we said, no, you need to invest for the long run. They're never going to have a house. So their whole vision of their future selves is utterly destroyed.
But look, you said
so it becomes
Bitcoin.
A logical thing to actually take more risk. It's logical for them because they've got nothing to lose. So even if I'm wrong by 50%, you still outperform Buffett. To put it in perspective, Bitcoin since 2010 has done, I think it's about 90 million % returns. There's no asset in all human history that's ever generated as much wealth in the shortest period of time. And because it's not a random thing, it's actually a technology, and it's a network model of technology. As more people use the network, and we see with Bitcoin, governments buying it and asset management firms buying it, everybody else, you have this network adoption model. And so what it creates is the same chart as Google or Amazon, all of these. It just goes up in a log trend over time with some volatility. So you've got a secular bull market, which means that over time prices go up for measurable and understandable reasons. And it happens to be the highest performing asset of all time.
There's one problem.
And it's volatile. The psychological thing you're dead right about. It's very hard when it falls 70%. I've gone through 3 of those. They're hard. Bottom of Maslow hierarchy of needs taken care of.
Right.
I've got houses. I don't have debt. It's easy for me. I've got multiple sources of income that I can take that back. I'm not saying that for everybody, but I can also understand why a 25-year-old can do that too, because they've got nothing to lose.
Crypto isn't the only game in town. Raoul also points to the NASDAQ 100, the world's leading technology index. Historically, the NASDAQ compounds at about 18% annually. It's not as explosive as Bitcoin, but it's remarkably consistent. Why? Because the world is becoming more digital every single day. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and NVIDIA are riding unstoppable trends in cloud computing, AI, and digital infrastructure. Raoul suggests a simple portfolio model, 70% NASDAQ, 30% crypto. This combination balances explosive upside with stable tech-driven growth. And if you're more conservative, you can tweak the ratios, add more cash, gold, or bonds. But for most people, a mix of tech and crypto is enough to outperform traditional wealth strategies.
So if you're 25 years old and you get wiped out, we've all done it. We've all kind of screwed up and, had to move home to our parents or do whatever. We've all done it. You can do that several times when you're young, and it's okay. You just don't want to do it
At
when
age
you're
50.
At age 50.
Sure.
You really, really don't. You become more risk averse, generally speaking.
Okay.
So it just depends where you are and how much time you've got to take that risk. The ability to have cash flow or cash for if things go wrong, right? That's really a super important thing, to be able to have a long-term view, to be comfortable with drawdowns, to be able to invest in startups or to invest in crypto or technology and all of this stuff. That makes sense. But I just don't think a dividend at 4% makes any difference to anybody. The primarily important thing is income.
Yes.
And we talked about it last time I was on the podcast, it's like, how do you just leverage the same skills in different ways that you can earn more money from it? Like the story I was told when I left university was, speaking to a friend of my dad's, he was like, well, what are you going to do? And my father was in marketing, and I liked marketing. But it was like late 80s Wall Street thing was going on. And I'm like, well, I'm thinking about either going to work for somebody like Mars, do marketing, great company, or go and work in the city in London. And the guy looked at me and said, it's really simple, Raoul. It's the same job. You're a salesman in both. One, you get free Mars bars, and the other, you get free money. And you realize, there's actually arbitrage in what you can do with the same skill set. The primarily important thing is income.
Yes.
And we talked about it last time I was on the podcast, it's like, how do you just leverage the same skills in different ways that you can earn more money from it? Like the story I was told when I left university was, speaking to a friend of my dad's, he was like, well, what are you going to do? And my father was in marketing, and I liked marketing. But it was like late 80s Wall Street thing was going on. And I'm like, well, I'm thinking about either going to work for somebody like Mars, do marketing, great company, or go and work in the city in London. And the guy looked at me and said, it's really simple, Raoul. It's the same job. You're a salesman in both. One, you get free Mars bars, and the other, you get free money. And you realize, there's actually arbitrage in what you can do with the same skill set.
Oh, yeah, you do NASDAQ.
So NASDAQ compounds at 18% a year.
What is NASDAQ?
The NASDAQ is the NASDAQ 100, which is the top technology stocks in the United States. Right? We live in a world that tomorrow will be more digital than today, guaranteed. And so therefore, these stocks tend to generate the most performance. And we've talked about many of these names. That is all in the NASDAQ. So a little arbitrage is, if you want to shorten your 7.8 years to 5.5 years, 6 years, buy the NASDAQ 100. It's an ETF,
QQQ.
Zero cost, easy. And then I would say, and then do 70% that, 30% crypto, and you don't have to care about anything.
Sure.
You're fine. Now, if you have a different risk tolerance, you can tweak those dials, or if you are more risk averse, then you up your cash dial or some other more stable flow, whether it's gold, although gold is still driven by debasement of currency. They're all the same thing. They're all driven by the same macro factors. But so yeah, similar kind of idea. So dollar cost averaging is, if you're young and you've got a bit of excess cash now, you've sold your income a little bit, as opposed to just chucking everything in, or you put your large sum in, you've saved up your 10 grand, but now you've got maybe $500 a month of free capital you want to put into your savings. So when you have these drawdowns, you're actually keep buying. And what happens is it lowers your average cost over time, and you get to new all-time highs in your portfolio much before the market did. So for example, in the last crypto down cycle in 22, all I did was add as much as I could to my crypto. So I was at new all-time highs in my portfolio well before the market was, because I'd lowered my average entry. That compounds your profits over time incredibly.
At the heart of Raoul Pal's philosophy is this: wealth is no longer built the old way. We are living through a transition from analog to digital, from national markets to global networks, and from physical assets to digital ones. Those who recognize and adapt to this shift have the chance to participate in the greatest wealth creation event in history. Those who cling to the past risk being left behind.
That's it for today's look into BTC Insight. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay on top of all the latest insights. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll catch you in the next one.